Hi guys, an exceptionally warm welcome back to the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling podcast. Here I am in my home with white walls and whatever colour couch this is, and a grainy, weird vibe going on, to talk to you about Brodie Lee. Now, I've talked about Brodie Lee on this podcast before. In a WWE context, I think I called him the most underrated guy of 2019 in the WWE. A lot of stock on this podcast for Brodie Lee, formerly, of course, Luke Harper. Now, Jake the Snake showed up last night on AEW DYNAMITE, and it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Delivered a killer heel promo, came out babyface within a second. It was like the 80s again. Jake the Snake's out here. He's like, he calls Cody Rhodes Caesar, which I think is, it was great. He was like, I'm not here for a big slice of the pie. I'm here for yours. Amazing. And I think, so he's going to manage you guy. And I think it's going to be Brodie Lee. People are talking about it could be Matt Hardy, which would make, it would make amazing sense. It would be a great team. People are talking about Lance Archer, who's obviously just signed. But I think it's Brodie Lee. I think they're building Brodie Lee up for a big thing. This, of course, leaves the Dark Order thing open. He's one of Anthony's picks. Brodie Lee, of course, is one of Anthony's picks for the Dark Order. Now, that's not... neither do the two have to be exclusive, I suppose. Jake the Snake could be part of Dark Order. He could be managing someone in Dark Order. But I think it's going to be Brodie Lee. I think it's going to be... He's going to reach the heights now with Jake the Snake as his manager that he should have reached in WWE. Now, a lot of people are saying, another WWE guy from the 80s as a manager. This is the same. We've done this before. You've got Tully Blanchard, and you've got Arn Anderson managing Sean Spears and Cody respectively, but I think it's Jake the Snake, man. It's Jake the flipping Snake. He has a place in 2020 wrestling and the wrestling world, and I'll tell you why. Because he's probably one of the greatest heel promos in the business. He's got a mind for the business. I think he could spend the next 2 to 3 to 5 years behind the scenes at AEW offering advice to talent, and people would take it. And he is a fine example of redemption and what can be done with work ethic in the wrestling industry. And to be fair, in pretty much every other industry you can think of, people that deserve redemption can get it and change their life around. That's what I believe. That's a personal thing. But I have great respect for Jake the Snake Roberts. I have great respect for the fact he showed up here. I have great respect for the fact that he could turn Brodie Lee's career around, make him a world and he could finally get that respect that he deserves, in a world-renowned wrestling company. I'm talking about Brodie Lee here with Jake the Snake at his side. I'm not sure it's something they should continue to do. I think they've got 3 incredible guys in Tully and Arn and Jake. I'm not sure there's too much more room. Maybe I'm just contradicting myself, but I think those 3 are okay. I think those 80s icons are okay in this context. Jake the Snake, because of his mind for the business, is a bit like seeing Raven a few weeks ago. Because of his mind for the business. Otherwise, it'd be like, Goldberg coming back to WWE and beating The Fiend. Should we be giving these old-timers, these positions? But I think in this context it's fine. And I read something on Twitter, on the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling podcast, which you can follow. / Give Me a Whole Year, Facebook / Give Me a Whole Year, Instagram / Give Me a Whole Year, and on our Patreon / Give Me a Whole Year, where somebody was saying, in WWE, an old timer comes in, beats the guy for a world title. In AEW, an old timer comes in, immediately works to put over another guy. Jake the Snake is bringing darkness to AEW with somebody else. He's managing somebody else who's going to face Cody, and I think that's Brodie Lee. What do you think? What's your take on it? I'm not going to waffle on too much longer. I wanted to keep this short and sweet, because it only happened yesterday. What do you think of Jake the Snake in a 2020 context? And what do you think? Who do you think he's going to be managing? Don't forget to keep in touch with us. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you very much for listening, watching, whatever it is you're doing, wherever it is you're doing it. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Me and Anthony and Ollie and the crew, we appreciate it endlessly. It's worth doing if you pay attention, and whether it's a couple of likes or 200 likes or whatever. Thank you so much. Subscribe to us, support us, in whatever way you can. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I've been Dom. This has been the Gimme a Whole Yeah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to keep it gay.
God, I just listened to this Whole Yeah podcast. It was terrible. I feel like my ears are gonna bleed.
What'd you say? This is Darby Allen, and you're listening to Give Me a Whole Yeah podcast.